boy. We're early for a change. Sometimes we're early, sometimes. Usually we're not. We got a different game lined up. And this one, no real theme here other than I just like it, and I don't see it talked about terribly often. There was a point in time when this was a series that would pop up sometimes in games media. Not so much these days, and I can't say that I super blame them. Let me fucking do some quick Googling here and see which one of these is the most recent one. Boop, 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 boop. So it is the one that we're going to be playing. Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's the best one. So it took them several tries to get it right. You know, that's... so we got 1, 2, 3... 3 previous ones that were just not as good. And then finally, we come to what we're playing today, and I really adored it at the time. It doesn't offer a ton of options, so it's not quite the same as Titanfall 2. But what it does offer is, I think, a creative delivery of its fairly standard story elements. It relies heavily on the unreliable narrator thing and makes that sort of a physical force in the world, and we'll see that happening. Yeah, you know, let's just go ahead and hop right on in there. Cool, we're doing the sound thing again. Well, we'll have to fix that real quick. Always a pleasure. You set it to go through a specific thing and then it just goes, actually no, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do something else. And then right back in. I don't know if that's an OBS issue or if it's just the age of the games that I've been playing. Who knows? We should have ears now. We'll give you eyes as we come to our loading screen, or our title page. Perhaps. We'll find out. So far we got nothing. But then again, so far it's loading, so I don't know that it's going to capture much. We'll just park us back here. No, not always. Because the loading screen is sometimes kind of nothing. The witch is saying that she thinks it would show the loading screen. In any case, it'll be a moment. The game is odd to get working. It got a Switch port, which is kind of cool. Last year, I want to say. So if you got one of those and you wanted something to fuck around with, this is available. This is a thing you could fuck around with. Close that. Okay. Now we've got something working. Kinda. Oop. There we are. Some fun stuff going on there. Anyway. We got ears. We got eyes. We're waiting to see. And if we gotta fuck with it, there we go. It just took it a moment. Sometimes these things take a moment. This is another one of those which, you know, just fucking, just you can fuck with this. That's fine. Full screen is only on or off. That's all we got. All right. So this is called Juarez Gunslinger. There's a whole bunch of modes that you can play. This is the one that we're going to be going with, predictably. Can we see how this is sounding? Do you want to put your headphones on real quick? 'cause we were fucking with the sound levels last night, and this game, for some reason, was coming through quite loud in comparison to other games. And we're gonna see if we can remedy that in any way, shape, or form. We're talking, how's the music? Okay, cool. We're just gonna do a new game. There's really no reason to do this. Okay. We're gonna go with hard, because this is just insanity, I think. It removes your HUD and everything. I don't know, I like seeing what I got going on. Hard is... No, that's okay. I appreciate their vote of confidence.
Don't I know you, sir?
Don't believe so. I haven't been here in many years. Name's Silas Greaves.
Silas Greaves? The bounty hunter?
Used to be.
Well, what are you doing here in Abilene?
Just passing through. Got a little business to take care of.
Well, sir, it would be an honor if you would allow me to buy you a beer.
Hell, son, it would be my honor to drink it.
I'm Molly. Howdy.
I'm Dwight. That's Jack and Steve. Ben's behind the bar. Oh, I bet you got some great stories.
A couple.
Any of them true?
Jack, be nice.
A few.
What about your shootout with Henry Plummer's gang in Bannock, Montana? Is that where you started as a bounty hunter? That's what it says in this here dime novel.
Don't believe everything you read in them dime novels, boy. First man I hunted was back when I was riding with Billy the Kid.
You knew Billy the Kid?
Damn right. That scrawny son of a bitch had no fear. Wouldn't back down for nobody.
I heard he collected the 10 stars off any crooked lawman who crossed him.
It was a war, boy. The Lincoln County War. And Billy promised his regulators would take the life of every bastard who helped bushwhack John Tunstall.
Kid had a big chip on his shoulder and a hair-trigger temper. Made him dangerous as hell.
Well, we're introduced to our format. Silas is going to be telling his story in a kind of, memoir anthology style. We've got some tips. And we've got some loading. I have no idea why it is this loads the way it does on like a modern system. It's probably just like a minor software hiccup, but...
It was about 30 years ago. Billy was hiding out in an abandoned farm near Stinking Springs.
Great.
I threw in with the kid because the man I had sworn vengeance on was riding with Billy's enemies.
We'll do our best not to interrupt Silas.
I want that sumbitch dead. Let me tell you what happened that day. I was heading back to the hideout when suddenly I had this funny feeling.
So, we say that we have these things available to us. We can fuck around with perks. We'll want a few of those. Dual wielding. We do want longer combos. Okay, so we have to start at the thing there. That's fine. And this is just how it is that we kind of progress, as it were. Extra range. Longer combos, we want that. Some extra health. And we'll want those ranger things. We'll level up, quote, quote.
No, Steve. The other kind of funny.
Anyway, it mentioned nuggets of truth. Like I said, we rely on that unreliable narrator. And in every lie, at least a good one, stories are sometimes lies, there are little bits of things that are true. And we'll see how many of those we can find in just our playthrough. I really do like the art style here, how it's not quite reality. I think it works to the game's favor there, and in just keeping it fun to look at and fun to play, you know, years and years down the line. I want to say it came out in 2013.
Need to stay here and keep an eye on the road.
That's not fair. We're missing all the fun.
I knew those two morons would never let me through. I had no choice.
There we go. Now, we can wield two of these at once, and doesn't let us look down the sights quite as far. This is more accurate at a distance.
Who's that?
Is he with us?
And you can see that we have a scoring mechanic here, where
Was it Pat?
we do stuff, it gives us points.
I heard the shots and I knew I had to move fast. Garrett and his army of deputies had surrounded the entire homestead.
Alright, and just a second here, which is saying that we're just a little bit quiet. This is what we ran into before with this game. It's got this kind of like robust noise to it. We'll fuck with it just real quick here. Okay. Will do. That can't be the next step. There we are. And let's see how that sounds. Because typically in her ear I'm like perfectly balanced, but she's got headphones on. So we'll fuck with it as we go.
I decided to help Billy and the boys out of it.
Now we're firing.
So that's just what I do.
I'm talking, Silas is talking. This is maximum noise.
As the governor of New Mexico was paying for the kids' apprehension, Garrett was able to hire every gun hand in Lincoln.
She's saying still kind of quiet.
You think you can kill?
We'll probably do this. And just bump this up a little bit. How you liking these on-the-fly adjustments, Lost Things? That'll probably do it. I mean, maybe. Okay. So we're shooting, we're talking. What do we got? We ran sound level checks on it last night, but fucking... You never really know until you get it out there, right? Someone's got something to say in there. Okay. Which is giving me the thumbs up. We'll continue to adjust as we need to.
Garrett's men were running around like a bunch of chickens with their heads cut off.
So, what makes this interesting is that, you know, these guns are relatively period appropriate.
One of them reached the water tower.
They're not the greatest weapons.
Would be a turkey shoot from up there.
And we've just seen our sense of death mechanic, which is sort of as we're getting to our last breath. Up in the upper right there, we have that skull in the dice. If they are about to score a headshot, that will also trigger.
Luckily, these shooters Garrett hired weren't the sharpest tools in the shed. The right position is very important. Personally, I prefer to be on top.
Oh, you do you?
Well, Silas, it's important to be versatile.
Oh, where was I? Oh, yeah.
So this gun that we just picked up has a slower rate of fire, slower recoil, or heavier recoil rather, but a much longer range and a much tighter spread, and owing to its longer barrel. There we are.
You ain't going nowhere. Show yourself, coward.
A lot of them were saddle tramps or sod busters or drunken drifters looking to make a few bucks.
Just the standard. So the handguns will come in a couple of varieties.
I heard
We'll
a friendly voice yelling at me.
do our best to.
Back door! We'll cover you!
Watch your flank.
Truth be told, things weren't much better behind the house.
We'll do our best to showcase those as we go. Pumpkins are not good cover. It does have some penetrative mechanics.
Numbers in half. But that just made the ones that were left twice as mad.
We can shoot through certain materials and not through others. And some weapons will have better chances of getting through things than others do.
They made up for their lack of skill with a seemingly endless supply of ammo.
We got a little bit of commentary from Silas there about how they don't run out of ammo.
It was a bit of a slog, but I finally fought my way around
Yeah,
the back
I
of the house.
want their stuff. Okay. All right. More stuff, right? More stuff. We like that.
And like that, I was inside, none the worse for wear. I passed Dirty Dave,
That's Dirty Dave.
and upstairs I found Billy and Charlie Beaudry.
Nowhere.
Well, we'll talk to Billy in a second.
How about that? Huh? You like that?
Billy looked at me and said, "About time, amigo. Grab a gun and get to the window."
Wait, so you were friends with Billy the Kid?
Yeah, sort of. Anyway, we were surrounded by dozens of deputized shooters who wanted to do us harm.
There we are. And now, we have this lever action. Despite popular myth, this really would have been the go-to weapon of the day. A repeating rifle is handy in just about every situation.
Just kept on coming.
I see him. There we are.
That's when Charlie got hit. "They're catching us in a crossfire," shouted Billy. "Get to the other side."
We have a similar kind of mechanic, right? You see this in your Red Deads, where it seems like the gunslinger has this preternatural sense and speed about them. In this case,
Those cocksuckers I personally put down. It was pretty clear, even to Billy, that maybe discretion was the better part of valor.
What's that mean?
there we go.
It means that it was time to cut and run. "They got a Gatlin!" Billy shouted. Get the horses and bring them round back. I'll draw their attention.
Okay. Well, get the horses and bring them round back.
That order is me. And I thought, why the hell do I have to do it? But I went anyway. Dumbass that I was back then. Huh?
Those poor sons of bitches are done.
Many would have fled in my place. But I had that false sense of invincibility that many young men have. Like Jack here.
What are you saying, old man?
Jack, he's just joshing with you now.
Yeah, he better be.
Mr. Graves, please continue.
Please, call me silent. Where was I?
You were heading for the barn.
Right. Making my way past a passel of fallen foes.
Well, making our way downtown anyway.
Sounds like Garrett hired a whole regiment.
So, we'll interrupt them just a little bit here. We do have to manually aim in most of our eye blink spots. That's what it's called. When everything slows down and things are highlighted in red. In some of them, like these special sequences,
These hapless bastards would pop up.
Silas will just kind of track the targets for us. Which is nice, you know, they're supposed to be just like little set pieces. This honestly has a lot in common with like old light gun games, you know, your time crises and shit.
Within my
Crises. In that you kind of move through relatively linear paths with events happening and triggering. It's less in the style of like a Call of Duty and more in the style of an arcade shooter, which I also appreciated. It is a heavily stylized game, as you can see, and well, I think this lends well to it. Alright, let's continue. Those horses, right? They're not going to get brought all on their own.
Sheriff Pat Garrett.
I read that you went toe-to-toe with him, sir. That backstabbing bastard with that tacked-on tin star.
It also has this system. This is duels. We may lose our first one, but we'll find out.
You challenged him to a showdown.
You read that in a dime novel?
It said he showed no fear as he took your measure with eyes like a rattlesnake.
So, I must keep my mouse there, and later on we'll get the ability to move our hand, which will increase our draw speed. And the idea is that, well, when he draws, I have to outdraw him and fire.
And
Like so.
killed him in a fair fight.
Is that what that Penny Dreadful said? No, boy. That ain't what I meant when I said I met Pat Garrett. So let me start again. I finally reached those damn stables.
Alright, we're back at the stables. And we can see that the story that we are playing changes based on whose input we've got. We have a table full of storytellers, so this is going to happen a few times.
Stepped inside, and bam! Last thing I heard was Garrett's voice. That's not Billy.
And go on. How did it end?
And, boy, that was just the beginning.
It sure was. Honorably killed. We don't get that stamp if we draw first.
So what happened? Did Garrett arrest you?
Yeah, after I came to, the bastard had clocked me with his Colt.
And the kid surrendered?
When he realized there was no getting out of there alive.
So they locked you up in Lincoln?
Indeed they did. Sentenced me to hang right along with the kid.
And there we go. Silas's story off to a rip-roaring start. Riding with Billy the Kid. Doing something there.
It's important to know
We'll
that I
continue.
was only riding with Billy so I could
There
find
we are.
the bastard I was after.
Can't quite make it up on that.
He was with John Kinney's gang, and they were sworn enemies of Billy's regulators.
Why were you after him?
I owed that son of a bitch a bullet for what he had done to me and mine. Instead, all I got for myself was a goddamn death sentence.
Can we see our feet? No.
Luckily, it was right around then that I heard Billy make his move. He shot Jim Bell and a few other guards as he made his getaway. Later, they wrote that some lady friend planted a pistol for him in the privy. What the papers didn't say is that Billy helped me escape, too. My
There we
first
go.
order of business was finding a firearm.
It does seem like something we might need. In short order.
Luckily, I located Deputy Bob Ollinger's mean-ass shotgun.
Well, can cut a man clean in half is an exaggeration, but a 10 gauge or 10 bore barrel is quite a lot of shot,
I saw
and
Billy
this
through
would
the window.
hurt to fire.
He yelled that I should take to the rooftops to make my escape. So I did.
Anybody see Bill?
This would just not be kind.
Jim Bell!
Hell yeah. That scatter gun was like a double-barreled howitzer. It could blow a man clear off his feet. You hardly had to aim the damn thing. The kid's escape raised a huge ruckus.
Didn't actually drop your pistol, though, huh? Fucker. Oh well.
Guards
we go.
were everywhere looking for him.
And we still have a thing to level up with. We'll get there. More things are happening.
Anybody see him?
I had to jump from roof to roof.
There we are.
Damn alley cat. I followed the planks where I could, but some of that wood was slippery as hell. The whole town was up in arms. And suddenly, I was a fugitive.
It's true. We bounced.
So that bastard you were after, what did he do?
He did me and my family a grievous harm. But I knew if I was ever going to find him, I would need to get my ever-loving ass out of there.
Also true. You can take shots at the
And sneak my way past.
chickens, but we're not going to do that.
You!
Well, we're caught.
But hell, if they weren't all waiting for me. Apparently, some of them thought I was Billy.
You hooligans can go to hell.
That's it for you!
Oh, we hear someone making noise over here. Oh, there.
See, me and the kid shared a certain similarity in build and color. I was just glad I had Deputy Bob's mean-ass shotgun.
That's a fair point. There we are.
Let's do this!
There's children here.
So much lead was whizzing by my head, it was like everyone in Lincoln wanted to put me in the ground. I knew I needed to find a horse. Though I never did have a great fondness for those four-legged grass eaters. Smelly, sweaty, ungrateful beasts. We prize them too high, yeah.
He's not wrong. Horses have a terrible disposition. I'm making friends all over on this channel, Lost Things. We can add horse people to the list.
You're threatening the lives of innocent people.
Alright, looks like we're going up. going to hell in a handbasket.
While you were busy getting shot at.
Wonderful.
Gone. And that's when it occurred to me why Billy set me free.
Probably the rifle, right? Being able to reach out and touch somebody is really more my bag. All right.
Take it!
So I could be a hapless decoy and draw attention while he snuck out of town.
Sir, come on now.
I knew if I made it out of there in one piece, no one would put a price on my head.
The only reason he wasn't shot sooner is that I thought he was part of the building.
No, because they all thought I was Billy, and all that blame would fall on him. Meanwhile, Deputy Bob Ollinger was organizing a posse to put me down. He was already a mean son of a bitch, but he was doubly pissed that I stole his mean-ass shotgun. Anyway, it was me or them, and the only way forward led me straight to perdition. But the cards were dealt, and I had no choice but to play them.
On your head! How the hell did he get away?
Okay. Something else I do find interesting about this gameplay is that it also doesn't kind of tick the same confusion boxes that it does in my head usually. The guns being what they are, it makes sense to continue cramming fresh rounds into them, to simply reload often. In other games, you don't really cycle magazines like you're supposed to, so you're dumping, what, half a magazine every single time that you just let it fall away. Important little details like that, I think, are worth exploring within any kind of entertainment media. Maybe. Nah, no dice. That guy, though, sure. There we are. Anyway, the guns all seem to have a built-in inaccuracy.
Leave him to me!
We're being left to somebody.
Don't let him get away!
I see. That's got it. Heat or movement? Looks like just heat.
Finally, I found what I was looking for. The stables on the edge of town.
I guess Billy saved your ass, taking out Bob Ollinger the way he did.
Billy didn't kill Bob.
Sure he did. Dispatched him right after he shot Deputy Bell.
No, sir. Because Bob came right up behind me, angry as hell that Billy had lit out. "Hello, Bob," I said. "I think you better let me go." And he says, "I don't think so, boy. Not with my shotgun." So we stood there in the middle of the street, eyeball to eyeball.
There's the speed mechanic.
He intended to kill me.
We line our hand up.
No choice but to defend myself.
And Silas inches it closer as we try to keep the focus ring where it goes.
I killed him in a fair
The first one whizzed right through. That's all right.
No damn choice. Well, Lincoln got a mite depopulated that day.
Yeah, a little bit.
Garrett gunned down Billy 3 months later, so his escape was all for naught anyway.
So where'd you go after Lincoln?
Mexico. Until I realized nobody was looking for me. I ended up taking a job at the Rurales.
The Mexican Rurales?
I was hired to help them track down the cowboys.
The most vicious outlaw gang in Cochise County? Curly Bill Brocious? Johnny Ringo?
Led by old man Clanton himself.
They must have paid you a pretty penny to take them hombres on.
Not really. But truth be told, I had my own reasons for going after those boys.
Now a trip to Mexico. No.
So was the bastard you were after now riding
we'll
with the
wait.
cowboys?
Roscoe Bob Bryant was his name.
Oh.
But no, this time it was a different bastard I was after. The aforementioned Mr. Ringo.
There we go. While we're picking our skills, we'll talk. So, the obvious comparison here is to the Red Dead series, and this game doesn't quite let you wander or linger in the same way, and I can understand the want for that. I miss it to a certain degree here. This clips along very quickly, and our characters are quite the talkative bunch. But given the way that it's structured, I don't know that that's a bad thing. If you're going to tell a story, there is value in telling a story and then leaving the fucking room, and not lingering like a Red Dead might. I played through, my time is Marston. I haven't picked up the second one yet. I don't know that I will. I've seen it, and I understand the draw, but ultimately it's Arthur's wandering and not my wandering, which... Oh, the witch is now pointing at me and smiling and saying, the draw, because it's like drawing a gun. It's like the draw duels. I didn't mean to do that, and I'm sorry. Anyway. Ultimately, it's Arthur's story and not my story, and... I don't appreciate the lie there. That they say, well, you can wander around and do all of these things, X, Y, and Z. And sure, I can, but you could also have told me this story much more quickly. What you're saying is that I can waste time between story beats, and sometimes that's nice. We'll get to a series where that's quite nice. Other times, like here, I don't need that. I would like to just kind of get stuck in, if that's alright. Yeah. And okay, so we'll hand it right back over to Silas. Remember, one of the things that I keep talking about is that I'd like these things to be co-authorships. Well, we'll take somewhat of a back seat on this one while Old Man Greaves continues to speak. Graves? It's Graves, right? One of them. We'll get there.
And yes, he was working for Old Man Clown.
I hate fucking running.
They hate fucking running.
I came upon them robbing a stagecoach, which wasn't surprising, being they were such murderous thieves and bastards. The bandits wore red scarves, so I knew they worked for the old man.
Over there! There!
I did my best to help those poor passengers.
There's a lot of balls calling me a murderer at this point, man.
You can't hide forever!
That is true. I can't hide forever. There you go.
Moments later, the attackers were dead. And I checked the stagecoach to see how many passengers were still breathing.
We're gonna need
none.
As much ammunition as we can snag.
Then I wondered if the rocks weren't hiding more bandits. Was that all of them? Or did I just hit the rear guard? I quickly got my answer. They attacked from on high like Apaches often did. They would appear in great numbers from above and rain down lead on their hapless enemies' heads, making use of the high ground and whatever else they had. Yep, the Apaches always appeared out of nowhere, and there never seemed to be an end to them.
Hold on. Were you attacked by Apaches?
There we are.
What happened to the cowboys?
Did I say they were Apaches? I said Clanton's cowboys attacked me Apache style. I was in a pitched battle.
There we are.
But I was holding my own against an overwhelming enemy force. See, at the time, I was still pretty green and would often blunder into regrettable situations. But I just kept shooting at anything I could see up in those damn rocks.
Yeah, sometimes they just sort of spawn. Not a lot I can do about their spawns, but we'll make do.
But to get to Ringo, I knew I'd have to fight my way past these other assholes first. Unfortunately, I was running out of ammo.
Well, so much for our hoarding.
Another perfect example of my relative inexperience as a hunter of men. I immediately knew that a tactical retreat was called for, as my vengeful fury was much less impressive without the bullets to back it up.
But we do have to wait until the path is revealed. Because right now, there's nowhere to go.
Trapped as I was, the odds of my survival seemed pretty slim. Luckily, serendipity was on my side.
There we are.
I suddenly spotted a way out of my predicament.
And we must simply make a run for it at this point.
I ran ahead as if the devil himself was after me. Bullets were whizzing by my ears, but I wasn't about to roll over and die. I just kept running like there was no tomorrow. Because there wouldn't be if Clanton and his men caught up with me. As I was scurrying around those caves, I thought, what was I thinking? Going up against a gang like this? Nowhere to run.
Well, I mean, there's plenty of space to run, my friend.
I just kept running, not knowing where the hell I was going. And that's when something miraculous happened. Like manna from heaven, I found the desiccated remains of what looked like an Apache warrior. The old weapon next to him supplied me with some much-needed ammunition.
There we go.
Matt Masterson once told me it was more important to be lucky than good, and he would know.
Well, I don't know if I agree with his appraisal there. I'd say it's better to be good than lucky. Luck is inconsistent.
And imagine my surprise when I
found dynamite.
Full of dynamite to go along with that ammo. That stroke of good fortune evened the odds and bolstered my confidence. It was time to turn the tables.
There we are.
Time for the prey to become the predator. Time for the hunted to become the hunted. Time.
All right, Jesus, we get it. They were right where you wanted them.
That's right, Jack. I was done running. And the old man's boys were not expecting that. No, sir. I came at them like a wildcat. My fury knew no bounds. Everybody here!
Silas does have a habit of exaggerating. I don't know that we're coming at them like a wildcat. I am who I am. Driving Silas, sure, but
to pay for his sins.
We're gonna be pretty methodical about this. Do you get it? Cranky. He's turning a crank. It seems that the witch is in tune with what it is that they've got going on.
I yelled out at the top of my lungs, Clanton, I'm coming for you! A little stealth might have made more sense, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it would have been a much...
That old fool had a Gatling gun and enough bullets to last him till kingdom come.
much better approach to just
Not let that deter
get up there and take the shot, maybe. We do have this rifle.
Not if I was to find and kill Ringo.
Probably in something similar to 44. I'm not entirely sure. It loads from the bottom, does it? Yeah, it loads from the bottom. So, I don't know. We'll end up back in gun chat at some point in time during this, because I think it's interesting. Our goal here is to get close enough to him to actually do the boss fight, so that is what we're doing. Well, I mean, there's this for starters, my friend. Yeah, it looks like we still haven't triggered it. Well, we'll get there. Alright.
Most
there it is.
Thought it was the Ruales who had come up against him in Guadalupe Canyon, but it was just me.
Damn contraption, damn to death.
We may have to just get up behind him. A little bit low on rifle ammunition.
Do I gotta reload again? Oh! What I ever do to you? Hey, let's see what you made of, boy! I don't know how you lived this long.
I mean, if these are my hobbies, your guess is as good as mine. Yep. We ended up on top of the rock. Oh well. Back at it. Yeah, sometimes the hit detection gets a little weird. Oof. Yeah, that's a mess up there. There ought to be one more of them. Those guys have dynamite strapped to them. They throw it. I don't want them throwing it at me. You understand. Pretty sure I see red there. Yeah, there we go.
Man, you're killing! Show yourself! What?
Nah, I'm just gonna wait. Might be enough.
Oh, gotta reload! Where'd you get?
I'm gonna see if we can spot a caliber marking on the side of it the next time we reload. Nope. Not that I saw, anyway. Hey.
Apparently, one of the cowboys made it out of there alive and told Ike and Billy Clanton that it wasn't a Mexican who took their father's life that day. They just assumed it was one of the Earps, and that little misunderstanding eventually led to that legendary gunfight at the OK Corral.
Well, now we know. And now we know something else. We're looking for Johnny Ringo.
A few weeks after that dust-up at the OK Corral, I was still after Johnny Ringo. I had tracked him and the cowboys to their hideout at a sawmill, and they were loaded for bear.
So what exactly did Johnny Ringo do to piss you off?
Well, him and that other bastard.
Roscoe Bob Bryant?
Yep. They both deserve to die, and I promise I'll tell you why.
Herb's coming!
Get ready, boys.
He'll get to it.
First, I need to tell you about the Cowboys' new boss, Curly Bill Brocious. Curly Bill took charge of the Cowboys upon the old man's demise, and after that gunfight at the OK Corral, the Clantons wanted revenge.
There we are. We will have to get much closer.
So they murdered Morgan Earp and grievously wounded his older brother, Virgil.
There we are. Something else that they managed to do, I would say better than the Red Dead series, is
as the Vendetta Ride.
Well, this is a human rate of reloading.
So when I showed up, that's who they thought I was.
It's a practiced hand. You know, it's not as if they are a new person fumbling, but it's certainly not the strangely quick reloads that I've seen before, you know, in your Red Deads and all that stuff. But we're about to change that. Yeah. So this is basically a weapon skin. We're now at the prestige rank with these. I like the standard skins for these better. I wish there was an option to turn this on and off. As far as I know, there's not. Did he leave? Okay.
I'm ending you.
There we go, in the bushes. Now we can speed up our reloads. There's no way that you're doing it that quickly, not unless you're specifically training for like a competition. Then you have to have all of the necessary cartridges in your hand. You gotta clear the old ones because this does not eject. Now these, yeah, they have a loading gate, so there'd be a plunger up front that you would work with your pie. You would, dude, you would. Not all revolvers swing open. That's relatively recent. I don't know what to tell you. Alright. I mean, he's got a lot to say on this. Anyway, there'd be a plunger up at the front that you would work with your offhand index finger. Yep. You know how that is. They're letting you know that, hey, you could do that.
All wearing red bandanas. That's how the Cowboys identified each other. And I was beginning to wish I had one myself.
Yeah, the poncho just wasn't cutting it for them.
But I wasn't about to let Ringo walk away unscathed. And that's what drove me forward.
They say that Ringo was infernally fast.
I hardly saw anyone faster, boy. Certainly not Wyatt Earp. That man was all hat and no cap.
Earp wasn't much of a match for him. But Doc Holliday might be.
That Lunger should have kept his nose out of it. They never charged anyone for the murder of Morgan Earp.
But everybody knew that Curly shot him in the back. That was common knowledge.
Yeah,
It
maybe
was
so.
simply common
Ringo
knowledge.
had nothing to do with it. He was just being loyal to a friend.
Is that what you call it? Being loyal. Well, to get to that loyal friend, I had to pass by some buzzsaws as big as a man.
the remains of an old sawmill like this where I'm from lost things. There's not all of this left of it, but you can still spot the odd end of it, and it's, they're strange sorts of buildings.
Sir, I have a question.
What's that, Dwight?
After old man Clanton died, why didn't his son take over the Cowboys?
Because Ike Clanton was dumber than a box of rocks and a yellow belly to boot.
There you go. Ike Clanton. Dumb and cowardly. Oh, ammo. Nice. We'll want that. There is plenty more.
Now, where was I?
Taking down the entire cowboy gang single-handed.
Correct.
Indeed I was, Jack.
There we are. I managed to hit the bottle.
Though it wasn't easy, as those boys had good cover.
Do we have more? Anyway, I hope that you can see the clear advantages of the rifle over most other things here. You certainly can play this much differently, but on higher difficulties, I do not recommend getting within kissing distance.
There he is.
Yeah, here I am.
You won't need it, Jack. Just shoot the son of a bitch.
You'd think that would be the order of the day, right? Alright, there's some more pistol ammunition.
Oh, now what?
Okay. There we go. If you shoot the dynamite, you know our trick that we learned from Wayne, it blows up better.
Oh, don't let that asshole get away with this. Can you shoot around corners?
They're a little bit too close. There we go.
Parts everywhere, piles of lumber, and God knows what else for people to hide behind. That really was one hell of a sawmill. Quite an impressive operation.
There. We got the rifle ammunition.
And where was Curly Bill? Did you see him?
I'm about to get to that, Ben. Patience. I'm painting a picture here. There was this beautiful waterfall and a crystal clear stream that led to a verdant valley that was truly...
Consider your picture painted. What happened next?
Well, finally the bastards that were still alive made a last stand.
Well, we'll get there. We found a secret. Here's our nuggets of truth. And as you can see, we have a few to get through. We'll try to get those as they come and get them as they're appropriate. So, John Peters Ringo, Johnny Ringo, the guy that we're after, born May 3rd, 1850, ended his life of violence 32 years later. History remembers him as an outlaw and a gunfighter who was associated with the Cowboys gang in his final years. From 74 to 76, Ringo earned his reputation as dangerous desperado while fighting in the Mason County War. That is something to remember about the United States at the time. Our counties would go to war, so not even territory, like the entire state would go to war with another state, just the counties, which could be comprised of like maybe a couple of towns. Anyway, his deeds during that conflict cost him almost 2 years in jail before the charges were finally dismissed. Soon after arriving in Arizona, an inebriated Ringo shot and wounded a man in a saloon for preferring to drink his beer instead of the whiskey Ringo bought for him. It is no surprise that around Tombstone, Ringo's reputation was that of an ill-mannered, ill-tempered, violence-prone saddle tramp, especially when drunk. On the other hand, who knows what his reputation would have been if the fight at OK Corral had gone differently. History is written by the victors, and Wyatt Earp and his brothers not only won the actual fight, but the PR battle as well. On the 13th of July, 1882, Johnny Ringo was found dead with a gunshot wound in his head and a revolver in his hand. He was sitting under a tree, barefoot. His horse was found 2 weeks later, his boots tied to the saddle as cowboys often do to keep scorpions out. His death was officially ruled a suicide, but we still don't know whether the, quote, King of the Cowboys was killed by Wyatt Earp or Doc Holliday, or if he simply shot himself because he felt his life was no longer worth living. He was a real unstable dude to begin with. We'll get to these others. We're stuck on the chair. Cool. Now we're free of the chair. Faster revolver reload. Yeah, why the hell not? More ammunition. Oh, do you actually... no, just the sawed-offs, huh? Well, later. There'll be time for the sawed-offs. It's just not now. That doesn't seem like it should have worked, but okay. Here's the waterfall, the Verdant Valley. A crystal clear stream. Well, looks like we're going this way.
Curly Bill, Johnny Ringo, and his compadres
This is
into the lumber yard.
This is not the first time that we've shot men in a lumber yard, is it? Life takes you in strange places, lost things. And in strange circles.
Cowardice was not in Ringo nor Curly Bill's nature.
No, sir. I never said they were running scared. They just wanted me out in the open.
Sure, man.
You working for Wyatt? I didn't like the skirt.
No.
Send you to kill me? This ain't my day to die.
Usually he runs around a little bit more. This time not so much, huh? He's decided that this is where he is going to die. It's a strange choice. But, yeah, I'm willing to just support him in this.
Just gave me no choice but to take his life. But Ringo was nowhere to be found.
I knew you didn't kill Ringo, because he was found dead in a different location altogether.
To this day, his killer is still unknown.
Indeed. Took me a few months before I finally tracked his ass to West Turkey Creek Canyon.
And that'll be where we're going next. I really do like the designs for these guys. I think they look fantastic.
That's incredible.
Their coats, their holsters, their fucking support rigs. One of the art designers, I believe, is in an interview said that what they were going for was Old West tactical. And if there was ever an art style that I super appreciated, it's that. Boom.
Sorry I had to ruin the legend for you, boy. But the legend ain't always true. Doc Holliday had nothing to do with the death of Johnny Ringo.
All those missed rounds with the 6-shooter, and we're still at 44%. Well, you know how that can be. I would like it to be higher, but here we are.
I was paid a healthy bounty for Ringo and Curly Bill, and realized there was real money to be made. That's why I went after Henry Plummer.
And there we are, the innocents.
Wasn't he the sheriff who augmented his income by shaking down miners and robbing gold shipments?
That's the one.
Oh, yeah, I remember him. He ran that gang of thieving outlaws called the Innocents.
So it's true that you went toe-to-toe with him?
Indeed I did, son. Indeed I did.
So named because, well, the sheriff was the one running the gang, so whenever his gang members would show up on the arrest docket, no, of course not. They were innocent of any crime.
I knew I needed resources if I was going to track down Roscoe Bob Bryant, and hunting Plummer looked like a good way to get rich quick.
No.
As the local vigilantes
there we
exposed
go.
him as the leader of the bandits.
There we go.
Put a generous price on his head.
With this pistol here, we have ivory
Rallied
grips.
his gang to plunder one last gold mine before making their escape.
Don't really care for ivory, like just on principle. Also, as a grip material, it's you know, first and foremost, leave the fucking elephants alone. Don't do that. Leave the rhinos alone. Don't do that. Otherwise, it's also gonna make your hand fucking sweaty. It's one of those extravagances that the supposedly wealthy and well-cultured indulge in, and I don't fucking get what they're talking about. We took this way around because otherwise we'd be in direct conflict with those guys down there, and you know me, I like my clean sight lines.
It makes me nervous standing so close to all these goddamn barrels of...
Hey.
How would you be?
As my late father pointed out to me more than once, God made men, and Samuel Colt made them equal.
George is up there on the rocks with that rifle.
Well, I don't know that Samuel Colt can be entirely credited with firearms, and it also hasn't led to much equality, Silas, but it's, you know, hey. Your dad was from the stupid ages where his cookware may have been lead. Those are explosives. Good night.
Don't let him get a shot up!
I mean, who the hell is that is a solid question to ask. I think they may have been asking it posthumously, though. I don't see anyone else down here. From... What did we... fucking just fall a little bit and shit blood? Relax. What do you got? Yes. Alright. So, the 6-shooter, perfectly fine. The Rangers are my preferred pistols. You can get real accurate and they reach out a good long distance. Not as quick to fire.
I knew that
but it's
dynamite
a
wasn't
lot of
mine.
dynamite.
So I decided the polite thing would be to return it. It was the biggest gold rush since Sutter's Mill in '48. Unfortunately, prospectors weren't the only ones drawn to those riches. There were thieves and killers, robbing travelers and hijacking gold shipments. Like those that ran with Plummer. Some were just regular folks I knew from town, drawn by greed and easy picking. Charlie Crow, the blacksmith. James, who worked in the stable. Sam and Jeremiah Barber, the butcher's sons. Of course, the rest were veterans of the Civil War. Stone-cold killers trained on the bloody fields of Shiloh and Antietam. Plummer had a lot of men on his payroll. A hell of a lot. That son of a bitch pretended to protect the public with one hand while stealing them blind with the other. He set up a defensive perimeter which I had no idea how to breach.
We're getting there.
Individuals. I was outnumbered and in way over my head. but I was too damn stubborn and stupid to realize it. I thought I was some kind of hero.
Around we go.
I finally made it past and headed on to meet my destiny. But first, I had something I needed to figure out. I had a few ideas on how to get into that mine, but once I made my decision, I knew there was no turning back. So my first thought was to enter the nearest mine portal. I saw an entrance. Made sense. It was the quickest way in, but that also made it more dangerous, as there would undoubtedly be enemy pickets posted along the way.
So that's Psycho throwing dynamite in this mine?
Come on in!
That's clearly not going to work.
Die!
Yeah, he is. I don't know if he's trying to cause a cave-in or not.
Besides, once you enter a mine like that, it's easy to get all turned around. And that confusing maze of corridors wouldn't even be the worst of it. Some of those shafts could be as deep as hell.
You or me? Come out from behind there!
Come out from behind, oh, I see you.
A single stumble or misstep can easily end in a deadly plunge to oblivion.
It sure can. That's why we have to, you know, put safety first and use ladders that beat. I don't know if that's period appropriate dialogue. Like, I know he said that we weren't. It's not the same as like, I've got beef with you. He said, you ain't beefing me. That's another one we're gonna have to look up. Alright, so what's down here? Some lanterns. And it just loops back around, does it? Okay. You gotta work on those knees, Silas. We're talking to young Silas right now. Old Silas is...
For lack of common sense. Luckily, I was never one to be easily bushwhacked. I would just need to be careful not to blow myself to kingdom come.
Like down here, where you definitely can. They can also strike these.
With all that gunpowder and dynamite everywhere, a body has to know what he's shooting at.
Yeah. Yeah.
One wrong bullet could have turned that mine into a dad-blasted tube.
Well, like that.
I freely admit that my plan of attack was not just moronic, but clearly insane.
Looked cool. But clearly.
It's a good thing that I abandoned that ridiculous plan before I even tried it. Instead, I spotted a ladder, a way into the mine from the opposite side.
Now, that sequence, that is what the success looks like. They, you know, they pull the fake game over and everything. I like that mashup with this sort of setting. It's not something I've seen before this or since, where reality is malleable that way.
Seemed more sensible at the time. Of course, being I had a problem with heights, that scaffolding scared the bejesus out of me. Climbing down that ladder required some caution, because even though I had a younger man's reflexes, No man can dodge a damn bullet while climbing down a rickety ladder. I needed to make a leap of faith.
Yeah, we're gonna make a leap of faith.
Easy when you're suspended between heaven and hell. I was determined not to give up, however.
Anyway, even with a younger man's reflexes, you're not dodging that bullet.
As Sheriff Plummer seemed quite a despicable character. When the vigilantes discovered what the sheriff was up to, people were outraged. That 10,000 they put on his head would go a long way to helping me find old Bob. And I had made it my mission to settle that score come hell or high water.
Okay.
First,
Nothing
I would
there.
have to make a choice. Take
Yet
the
another.
elevator or climb the ladder.
I mean, fuck it.
I picked the more convenient and more dangerous route.
It's in keeping with the spirit of the story. Hey, gents. We got there.
Plummer was a mad dog killer, and the people of Nevada City deserved better.
Too close to the dynamite. Oh well, I thought maybe we would be far enough away. Now I know.
Well, he was the sheriff of both places at one time or another, but that's neither here nor there. The point was, taking him down would save a lot of lives, including my own.
There is that immediate concern, Silas, yes. Looks like a boss fight arena to me. I mean, they did Scalawag. They didn't include Sharp Dresser. The red accent on the black looks nice. Yep.
Henry Plummer was clearly unhinged, and I could see right away that this was going to take some doing.
Could not intercept that one. But hey, we got solid cover.
Damn it! I need some help here! Come on, boys! Take this cocksucker out!
Rude. I'm gonna have to ask you to watch your language.
Man, shoot! Gotta give him that.
Where's your boss?
You can't hide from me!
There we are. Nah, but where's your boss? Oh, he's back.
They're gonna bury you in a million pieces!
Hey, no.
So that's how Henry Plummer died. Him and his crew were worth their weight in gold. And now, I was officially a bounty hunter.
It's official. We've done it.
So, did you finally go after that Bob feller?
Well, I heard word he was in Kansas with John Wesley Hardin. So that's where I went.
Where in Kansas?
Abilene. Why do you ask, Ben?
No reason.
Was Hardin as fast as Ringo?
Ringo was fast, but John Wesley was as fast as the devil himself.
They mean that. There's no way that we're beating Hardin in
Hell, he killed his first man at 15. From that day forward, he had a price on his head and wouldn't back down for nobody, not even Wild Bill Hickok himself.
And during the course of this particular campaign, he's the only one that we cannot beat. You'll see. You'll see. I love his intro.
I dodged death many a time, and that night in Abilene was no different. I was there with the intention of finding that bastard Bob and collecting the bounty on John Wesley.
Could not quite get the runner. Not enough of an angle on him there.
I thought the Texas Rangers out hard.
Yeah, that's what they want you to believe. It was Colton, a witch's tit, and a brass bra that night as I fought my way past his loyal compadres.
The quick shooter has this advantage. It's a top-break revolver. Looks like a Webley. Which is cool and everything, but, you know, nah. Also, this is unfair to witches. It hasn't been my experience that they're particularly cold-titted. She's somehow astonished that I would say something like that. I'm not sure why.
Same saloon we're sitting in today. Look around and imagine this place painted in blood. Hardin was waiting for me, and...
Yeah, here we go. Right?
Wait.
The sizzle on that.
Let me back up and give you some background on this sumbitch. He deserves that much. Don't you think so, Ben? John Wesley Hardin was a killer. By the end, he confessed to taking the lives of 42 men. Fathers and husbands, brothers and sons, men with families who cared about them. He was a bona fide folk hero by then, and had amassed a gang of armed miscreants and other assorted thugs.
This is a lot of money just sitting here for this time.
And I was hoping Bob was among them.
Damn it! Shoot that son of a bitch!
They didn't ask why I was there. They knew. As most of them were wanted as well. I figured Hardin was here somewhere, but to get to him, I'd have to get past his gun hands. I had to spill a lot of blood to find out Hardin wasn't in that camp. He was browsing in town with his closest friends. Hardin's boys apparently didn't want me to reach the Bull's Head.
Tell Hardin someone's
Some were
coming for him.
hightailing it into town to inform their jefe of my unwelcome
Stop
presence.
that sumbitch!
Oh, there they are. We found them.
Let the boys know we got another load. Yeah, you know you can't beat me.
I wondered if Bob was among them.
Like that sucker. Come on! Kill!
Strange.
You better hide.
Okay, so I do hear more. Likely this way. And there they are. I'm sure we'll find them eventually. There they are. Yep. Yep, yep. Y'all got more? No, just horses and cows. Oh, is this where we came from? Yeah. I hooked right up around them, didn't even pay attention. Oh well. The problem is solved. When we get to town, we'll take a look at some of the other things that we've collected as far as nuggets of truth. Ah, well, speak of the devil, right? Let's see. About John Wesley Hardin himself. Hardin, born May 26, 1853, was one of the West's most notorious killers. Next to Wild Bill Hickok, many considered him to be the fastest and most accurate gunslinger who ever lived, or at least the deadliest, as he is believed to have killed 41 men in various duels, shootouts, and other sundry incidents. One story has him shooting a man for snoring too loudly, but many believe that is simply... Skipped it. Anyway, that is simply a fanciful legend. Some considered him a cold-blooded killer, while others thought of him as a folk hero. He had a price on his head from the age of 15, but Hardin allegedly only killed in self-defense or to defend his freedom. Finally arrested by the Texas Rangers, Hardin spent many years in prison, where he frequented the prison library and taught himself the law. He was sentenced to 25 years, but released after only 17 and promptly passed the bar exam. He tried to make a living as a lawyer, but proved to be a much better gambler. Hardin could usually be found sitting in a saloon playing dice or cards. It is an irony that one of the most deadly gunfighters who ever lived met his end the same way his idol Wild Bill Hickok did. Both were shot in the back of the head while gambling. Hickok was murdered by Jack McCall and Hardin by John Selman on August 19th, 1895. There you have it. Now let's take a look at Billy's while we're here, seeing as we've met him and he's fucked off already. That's the actual picture of Billy the Kid. He looks a little bit too much like a fucking Kid Rock fan art, when we introduce him, doesn't he? Anyway, William Henry McCarty, also known as William H. Bonney, Kid Antrim, or Billy the Kid, was probably born between 1859 and 1861. He died on July 14th, 1881, shot by the Sheriff Pat Garrett in Fort Sumner. NM. Is that just New Mexico? We have to double check. I'm from the United States, and I just straight up don't know the state abbreviations. Shameful, I know, but a place is a place, and if you tell me the name of the state, then sure. But, yeah, New Mexico. I don't know of anyone who uses this in conversation. Anyway, back to it. To this day, he remains one of the Wild West's most recognizable outlaws. Billy stood approximately 5'8" tall and was of slender build with blue eyes, blonde hair, and a boyish charm. Many reliable sources can vouch for his sense of humor, generosity, and friendly nature. He was shrewd, relentless, and reckless, and often put his own life in danger for those he cared about. He loved to sing and dance and could read and write. His handwriting was said to be extremely neat. Well, Billy, we don't have that in common. Billy was very popular with the ladies, although he never played favorites. Not one soul who knew him personally ever said he had an explosive temper or a propensity to kill at the slightest provocation. The kid owes that image to his killer, Pat Garrett, who wrote a book embellishing his exploits 2 years after Billy's death. Pat! Nice. Hollywood then burnished that myth to a high shine. Contrary to popular belief, Billy was not a stone-cold killer or even much of a criminal. He never lived an outlaw life of robbing banks, stagecoaches, or trains. Petty rustling and horse thievery were the worst of his transgressions. Billy was credited with killing 21 people, but that number was inflated considerably. He definitely killed 4 men, 2 in self-defense, 2 during a jailbreak, and he participated in shootouts during the Lincoln County War, which left another 5 people dead. But then again, they might or might not have been killed by the bullets of Billy the Kid. And there we have that. Down we go. Silas will destroy his heels again. He's extremely top-heavy, you see.
I steeled myself for the fight ahead. For as good as I was, deep down I wondered if John Wesley wasn't just a little bit better.
I mean, did you see his introduction? You can't pull off that kind of theatrics without having something to back it up. You just can't. Alright. Town. Our signs are blank, though. Oh, never mind. It's just a barn. Well, what's in here? Hello, cows. Actually nothing? Actually nothing. Well, that's alright. We're straying away from the story. We actually found the edge of the map that we're not supposed to go to. Cool. Yeah. Looks like Mountain Bridge bourbon whiskey. Some chains, some cows. Just rocks. A post that goes that way and points another way too. There we are. There's the town. We found it. Just running, waving our guns everywhere.
Before I could test my mettle against Hardin, however, I would first need to dispatch his cadre of hired killers.
It's true. We'll need to do exactly that.
Most of these degenerates were beyond redemption, but John Wesley might have been a different story. I didn't learn until later that that night was in fact his birthday celebration. Watch where you're shooting!
There it is.
He'll kill us all!
I mean, maybe.
Can't get a good shot at it.
I think I already mentioned that I found Hardin in this very saloon.
This level also bears a quick mentioning of something while we buy things here. It's common where I'm from to play a really shitty game called Fireworks or Gunshots. And this level really plays with that, doesn't it? They sound very similar. Well, our rangers are now engraved, which means they are made of bullshit materials that you should not make a gun out of. Open.
Suffice it to say, nobody there was happy to see me. In fact, I felt a certain hostility.
There we are. The answer is typically to hug cover. I'm stuck on a chair. We good?
I was disappointed that neither Bob nor John Wesley were among the dead. But that was short-lived, as a moment later I was facing down the fastest gun in the West.
And you know, let's just take it in one more time. Ooh. Ooh.
I felt a bolt of adrenaline. Or maybe that was
just
fear.
Just look at him.
He was well known.
Everyone else paces.
And I knew I'd need my own if I was ever to defeat him.
Not John Wesley. John Wesley couldn't give a fuck. Yeah.
That man was faster than grease lightning. But being inebriated as he was, he didn't count his shots. And now, he was at my mercy.
So he didn't die?
No, I sent him to prison. Years later, after he was free, some restless Avenger took his life. Shot him in the back in a saloon just like this one. Anybody up for another beer? Ben?
And just like that, we're on to the next story. Silas still pursuing people in particular.
Yeah, some say revenge is a dish best served cold.
So whatever happened to that Bob guy you were after?
Personally, I'd like to hear some of your other adventures. Like, I don't know, did you ever go toe-to-toe with a red man?
Yes, I did, Ben. I remember once I was after this renegade Apache, Grey Wolf. Strangely enough, revenge was also his primary motivation.
And well, you'd be forgiven for seeing this chapter and going, oh no. But here we are anyway, and yeah, there's some like implied magic. There we go. Do you believe in ghosts? Well, I mean, you'd better, Lost Things. You're speaking to one, or one speaking to you. You may be speaking to me. It's up to you on that one. Oh, some rare and beautiful plants can be seen while we're on the way to our goal. Some of those are very good tips.
Grey Wolf's head, and that's how I came to hunt him in the mountains.
There you have it.
Mountains so high they tickled the nether regions of heaven.
Yep, just caress that taint.
Grey Wolf was a Chiricahua Apache medicine man who had led a war party in revenge for a massacre against his people. The U.S. Army had attacked his tribe during his daughter's sacred sunrise ceremony, and the slaughter was unspeakable. I understood his anger, as there's nothing more traumatic than seeing those you love die in a cruel and painful death. Right from the beginning, I couldn't shake the feeling that Grey Wolf was watching my every move. He led a band of Grey Wolf warriors who wanted retribution and were more than willing to die for him.
Now, while it's not rare, this little pine tree, I'm counting it as a find for us. Because it's not a small fern, and I don't think I've seen... no, there we go. They're part of the landscape then. Cool. At least it's not just a one-off small-ass pine tree. That would have made it better, but well, there's also comfort in the security of knowing that it's supposed to be there.
They saw me before I saw them.
Yeah, we're gonna need the rifle for that one. They're just a little bit too far away. Bad position. Some enemies are more resistant than others and have a life bar. Thank you. And back at it, because of course, no, that's not how the story goes.
Before I saw them.
Untrue. Alright, the Renegades. They must be defeated. Mostly because they're shooting at us.
And it crossed my mind that maybe this wasn't such a good idea. But now that the shooting had started, there was no backing down.
Oh, hey. Did not even see you there. Well, we may as well stop to fill up on some stuff. Shotgun? No, they're far too far away for that. Let's see what we got here. What could it hurt? Okay. I like the turn that this, the soundtrack is taking. Yes, I do want that first. Nice. To begin with, Silas does have a little bit of drag when you are looking down the sights. For some people that can be helpful, for others an impediment.
It was rugged country, the winter home of the Chiricahuas, and that's why they had retreated there. I admit to having some regrets about going after them the way I did. But then again, I got a lot of those.
Okay. Just the two on high, then. More of you put on the blue shirts, it's easier to pick you out against the background.
Did you find Grey Wolf?
Not at that moment, but I did find the entrance to their hideout.
Hey. I think I missed picking up on a ranger not too long ago, but we'll remedy that when we can. There we are.
A deep crevice that led to a deeper cave.
What the hell even in there?
Yeah, but it's not out of bravery so much as pure, angry cussedness.
And now we must search the caves. Search the caves for guys to shoot at us, I mean. There's not much searching that goes on. By now, I think you've got a grasp on what kind of game this is.
See, back then, I had a stubborn streak a mile wide, and I wasn't about to back down.
So it was like pitch black in there?
Actually, it was pretty well lit, as they had torches on the wall.
There we go. We'll wait until I can see again. There we are. From downtown, that guy. Alright, well, you know. Problem solved.
How big was his cave?
Big as hell, Ben. Chiricahua had hid out there during the Indian Wars. They thought it was haunted with the ghosts of those murdered by the horse soldiers.
The cave was haunted with dead Indian ghosts?
To be honest, I was more concerned with the live ones than the dead ones.
Missed that reflex. Round to the corner and just kind of hit my aim button. That's okay. We'll give it a moment. Usually that's a game over, but if you're quick enough, you can kind of duck to cover, like we do. That guy's just laying into it out there, huh? Chill, man. Okay. I know, dude. It looks culturally insensitive. It does. It does. But if we remember that this is a period piece, then, you know, a bounty hunter taking a bounty, you know, a warrant from the courts, if you will, to bring in a native person that they, you know, didn't care for, then unfortunately that's
a few years
that's
back,
a thing that could happen.
2 Mescalero women.
At the same time?
Yeah, they were sisters. Polygyny is traditional among
Polygyny.
So what happened?
Oh, I had to get out of there. Those girls never shut up. Both of them nagging at me all the time. Drove me half crazy. Haven't seen them since.
No, I mean, what happened with Grey Wolf?
Oh, well, I pursued him into the Cave of Death.
It's true, we did.
I came upon this flooded grotto, and that's when I saw him. He came to me unarmed and unafraid. His voice echoed in the shadows, and I sensed he meant me no harm.
You carry great darkness in your heart, and if you do not release it, it will claim your soul.
The sound of his voice put some kind of ancient Indian spell on me.
Yeah, this is where it gets a little bit regrettable, but hey, it's to prove a point in Silas's journey.
In my mind.
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if I had no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior, or something like that.
Or something like that.
As his story unfolded in my mind.
You will come to this place again and kill many more men, and the darkness will grow until it consumes everything that you are. The soul would have no rainbow if the eye had no tears.
He said I was a great warrior, a coyote man, unequaled by any other pale-faced warrior.
There we are. There we are. Sometimes
Past until a venom poisons your heart, and an echo of the song of the dead summons the spirits deep from within the mountains.
Sometimes the inaccuracy of the gun.
Get what he was saying, but there were
just no dice.
His warriors surrounded me and attacked me like hungry wolverines. They couldn't stop me though, and Grey Wolf wasn't in the mood for idle talk.
Lost things to any of you have the heart to tell Silas that a wolverine is not a snake. I mean, he seems very wrapped up in his story. So I wouldn't want to, like, fuck him up, you know? I guess he tagged me, though. Which, sure, fine.
I swear I couldn't see any way out of this trap. But suddenly, one just appeared. Kind of like a miracle.
Silas leads a blessed life, doesn't he? pathways just appear before him.
I felt like I would be lost in that damn cave forever. Finally, I found myself back outside, perched on the edge of a precipice overlooking a thundering whitewater river. To get where I was going required several leaps of faith.
It's true.
But no way in hell I was turning
And at least one leap, that was just not quite picked up by the game. That's okay. It's an older title. Stuff like that ledge grab there gets dodgy.
I chased after him, determined to make him explain the meaning of all that mumbo-jumbo.
Mumbo-jumbo is right. Are you making this all up as you go?
No, he's clearly practiced it.
Maybe fuzzy, brother, but I am relating exactly what happened to me.
And come on.
Dozens of Apache warriors aiming at me from on high.
Dozens?
Well, maybe not dozens, but there was a lot of them.
At least 3 or 4.
Well, more than that a little later.
There we are. Anyway. It's unfair to ask if he's making it up as he goes. This is clearly a practiced tale. From where? It's another one that's in the fucking trees, isn't it? Yeah, there he is. Do we have more?
I had a steep climb up creek ahead of me and scrambled up those rocks like a mountain goat. I was determined to locate Grey Wolf and find out exactly what the hell he was trying to tell me. And wouldn't you know it, that crafty son of a bitch led me right into a trap.
What kind of trap?
Well, son, there had to be at least 100 Apaches around.
At least 100.
100?
God be my witness.
Oh, come on. Who are you kidding?
Hey, I believe you. Come on, tell us how it ended.
All right, but I'm not gonna drag this out. Where were we?
You were surrounded by 100 Apache warriors.
Well, I didn't take the time to count them exactly, but there were a lot of them.
Hey. Is this what we're doing? Yeah, looks like this is what we're doing for the time being. I'll know we're doing something different when, yeah, that starts happening. And as you can see, there's also really nowhere to go here. We just kind of attempt to move in a circle. But y'all know fighting in a circle at this point.
In the end, a path appeared before me that I had not seen before.
He's got to get his eyes checked. Silas, you got to get your eyes checked. I know they had glasses, man.
I followed it as I desperately needed to find out what Grey Wolf was trying to tell me. But it was like that son of a bitch disappeared into thin air.
Or he became a dog. One way or the other.
And never did collect my goddamn bounty.
Okay, then.
Thank you, darling. It's interesting how the truth can sometimes seem, might malleable, depending upon your point of view.
Like how those dime novels make you out to be something you're not?
Jack, don't be starting trouble.
No, he's right. They do tend to exaggerate.
Did they exaggerate your part in taking down the Daltons?
Well, I was there in the flesh, boy, so I saw what happened firsthand. Those Daltons were lawmen once, before they all went bad, robbing banks and trains clear across the territory. Until Coffeeville, of course. I was one of the citizens who took up arms that day.
Fighting on the side of the riot?
I did my best, sir. We all did.
Well, we'll finish this chapter of Silas's story, and then we'll give him a rest for the evening. Giving us tips. The dynamite throwers, you see. As well as little tidbits. When timed safes were introduced, for example.
It was early morning. One of my friends was a local gunsmith, and he handed out firearms to anybody who'd take one. You see, the Daltons got it in their heads to rob 2 banks at the same time. 2 banks on the same damn street.
That does seem...
This girl was always riding him about how he had no ambition.
like just a terrible idea.
Recognized the Daltons right off. Before they could get away,
thank you, pups.
Took up arms to defend their property.
We got us a hero. Put some bombs in him!
Just one single peep. Sometimes that's all it takes. All right, more ammunition, another door to break.
The brothers paid dearly for their stupidity, but everybody knows they had it coming.
There's more to it than that. I read all about that day, so I know for a fact that it went down very differently. First of all, it was high noon. A posse of
Isn't it always?
marshals were on the rooftop across the street.
Get ready, boys. They're gonna make a move.
The lawmen had been tracking the Daltons for months. Now they finally had them dead to rights. Among them was a bounty hunter feared by many a lawbreaker. The marshals tried to get the Daltons to surrender.
They'll give up eventually. We just gotta wait the son of bitches out.
This bounty hunter knew that the brothers were far too proud to ever lay down their guns. He went in there alone to confront those criminals.
Well,
one of the marshals shouted, "Where are you going? Are you crazy?"
Hey, where do you think you're going, dumbass? That rifle's mine.
But he paid him no mind.
we'll probably want this. We'll be relatively close.
He saw a way to get around to the back of the bank. Then he figured out how to hit the Daltons from a direction they weren't expecting. A moment later, he was climbing up a steep ladder, laughing at danger as he did. It was brave men like him who risked their lives to tame this wild country.
Well, shit has happened down there, hasn't it? Uh-huh. We're in.
We've got company.
Heroic men like him, who did what other men couldn't or wouldn't to make this country free.
Later.
Jim Bowie, Davy Crockett,
Is that Silas
died
Greaves?
defending the
Son
Alamo.
of a bitch!
Well, the Alamo thing is its own fucking debacle. Ignore orders to retreat on a strategically unimportant spot of land and die, and somehow you're a hero. It doesn't make sense. There was also a much worse massacre that happened in another fort not too far away that really should have been the rallying call, but it wasn't. Mostly because, you know, revisionist history.
I'm gonna kill you dead.
Those guys didn't make it. think there'd be a nugget of truth in here. Maybe there was on one of my other playthroughs. Anyway, you know how this goes.
Over there!
Yeah, it's fine.
That's Silas Greaves! What the hell?
Blam! Blam! He came away victorious, taking down those thieving Daltons. His name was Silas Greaves, and when the dust finally settled, he was the last man standing.
I mean, what about all the others?
Sorry, kid, but that just wasn't the way it happened. It was early evening, not high noon.
A much better time.
Daltons blew up a safe, and we're all set to hightail it out of there. I was late to the party, and Coffeyville was already up in arms. Those pathetic deputies surrounding the bank were dropping like flies.
And there we have the Dalton brothers.
Tracking those jokers for months, waiting for them to do something reckless. Finally, they did. Those stupid bastards decided to rob 2 banks at the same time in the same town where everybody knew them. But they still had friends in Coffeyville.
There we are.
Waste your bullets. Go ahead.
Okay. That's the opposition outside the door. And we don't have the benefit of all the heroism this time, so we'll need to be a little bit more careful. If we're allowed to do that at all. Doesn't seem so. Is this just not the route? Yeah, that's right, because I ran. My head is stuck on the arcade thing that we did to fucking do the sound checks. Oh, am I? I don't. Okay. Must be down this alley. Yep, there we go.
What's holes in them?
Those friends came after me like a pack of wild dogs, tooth and nail. They were coming at me from all directions. I caught sight of the Daltons running with the money and didn't want to lose it. Problem was, they knew the town better than I did. And to top it off, I found myself in the middle of another shootout entirely.
Did the Daltons hole up in somebody's house?
No, it was the Smiths, I believe. They were cousins of the Daltons, and they were shooting at the Browns, who were shooting at the Daltons, which wasn't any surprise, because those 2 families have been feuding forever. And since the Joneses are related to the Browns, they shot at the Smiths, pissing off the Heimhoffers, whose daughter recently married a Smith. Well, bullets were flying every which way as all the old feuds in Kansas caught fire all at once. There was a hell of a lot of pissed off people in Coffeyville that day. But that's just the way life is sometimes. Shit happens.
And there we go. Rural American feuds.
That's it for you.
Boiling over into the streets. Tale as old as time. I don't know if I shared the story of Amanda with you, Lost Things. I only know her by her name. And I only know that she was called pregnant as a pejorative. The phrasing, and I don't know that I can do the tone justice, my voice being what it was Amanda, you're fucking pregnant. And this was all I heard before I heard a bottle break somewhere down the street in the middle of the night.
The boys knew I would never give up.
Later the cops showed up, but I had decided to go inside.
Those weren't the sharpest knives in the drawer. They always stood together. They set a trap to slow me down and allow at least 2 of them to escape. The 3rd brother stayed behind to plant me, just in case that trap of theirs didn't work.
I mean... not a bad trap, but... you got a shooting gallery here. Just go ahead and hang out. Grab a rifle.
It was him, the youngest. And he decided to stand his ground and face me down.
We need an arena for that.
This is where it ends.
He was determined to protect his brothers. And I understood how he felt. Taking me on all by his lonesome wasn't exactly a recipe for a long life.
I mean, neither is sucking down buckshot, but... see what I mean?
Next time I won't miss.
Well...
Gonna beat you like a red-headed stepchild.
Yep. He caught up to us eventually. That's okay. We can try again. I forgot we had one of those. No, I traded out. Well.
I'm gonna cut you in half. Send you to the bone orchard. I'm gonna plant you where you stand. I'm gonna tear you apart.
He's got to be more bullet than man at this point. There we go.
But Emmett Dalton...
we got him eventually.
Coffee Bill. He's the only Dalton who did.
I don't know.
Say he was shot 23 times.
It was more than that.
Right, who do you think put all those damn holes in him?
We tagged that fucker way more than 23 times.
That boy had grit.
Yeah, and a lot of organs to put fucking bullets in, Jesus. Anyway, we'll let that save and we'll go ahead and give Silas a bit of a break. So yeah, we definitely have a new thing going on, and like I had said before, I don't typically like looking backwards. I like looking forwards, but Gunslinger here, Call of Juarez, Gunslinger. Are you actually gonna close, or maybe? Okay. It's just refusing to go down. That's alright, we can fix that. It wouldn't be the same if those things didn't happen, you know? It's become fun to grapple with them. Anyway, Call of Juarez Gunslinger is one of those times where I make an exception. You can tell me any story, and if you tell it well, I will be on board. And, you know, your mileage may vary, but I find this game positively fucking charming. From the way the guns handle, to the way that the world looks, to the narration by Silas, and the conversation going on between the characters at the table. None of it is all that new or inventive. It doesn't have to be, you know, kind of like our last thing. But it is done well. Silas goes on tangents, and he's prone to the same sorts of embellishments that you would expect someone who's spinning a yarn to be, and our skeptic is present, but he's not present enough to be irritating. He's likely giving voice to some thoughts that the player is having as well, as Silas goes, and I was surrounded by 100 Apaches. Like, yeah, were you? There's 100 of them? Cool. Have another drink, I guess. Jack doesn't take the same joy in Silas that I do, but it's, you know, different strokes. we'll continue with him later. For now, wander around on your own a little bit. See ya.